I really believe that this is going to be a two-possession game, maybe 10 to 14 points. I don't know if the New England home crowd really kind of gets to Tom early or if you guys can finally get some pressure to him. Because we all know Atlanta was able to get some pressure last week, 2 weeks ago. The Rams were able to get to Tom as well. So if Judon and those boys can find a way to get to Tom and rattle him early, who knows if that combined feeling with everything going around him can kind of get him rattled. So I definitely think that Tom still comes out there, and I think that the Bucks do win by about 10 or 14 points.
Yeah, I think when I look at this matchup, I got the Bucks winning this one. Simply just because I know it's kind of tough for me to say that, but
I
you know,
know.
when I look at the X's and O's of this game, I mean, it's pretty apparent to me that the Bucks offense have a huge advantage. I mean, they get Antonio Brown back off of the COVID list. You got to deal with Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, Mike Evans, and then you got to deal with Giovanni Bernard and Leonard Fournette as well in the backfield.
Is
So
Rojo out?
no, he's in, but they just haven't been able to really run the ball as much as I thought that they would at the beginning of the year. But really, kind of the featured
Word.
backs that I've seen so far have been Gio and Leonard Fournette so far. I mean, when it comes to New England's defense, that's a tall task, and I
Yeah.
do think that New England, if they had Stephon Gilmore in this game, I think they would be able to match up
Whole
a
different
little bit
story.
better. But with Stephon Gilmore out for the foreseeable future, he's still on the, I believe he's on the pup list. There's just so much firepower on that offense for the Bucks. I just don't think that Patriots defense is going to be able to contain them. And then to kind of flip it, I mean, the Patriots offense is going up against the Bucks defense, and the Bucks secondary in particular has been suspect so far. They have been giving up a lot of points this year. I mean, the Bucks front seven is solid. It's one of the best front sevens in the league. But really, the adjustment that a lot of teams have made against the Bucks is to just constantly throw against them. We saw that against Dallas. We saw that against Atlanta. We saw that against the Rams last week. And by and large, all three quarterbacks that Tampa's defense has faced, they have been largely successful against Tampa's secondary. So I think if you're looking at this from the Patriots' offensive perspective, they're going to throw the ball a lot. I don't think this is going to be a game where you just run the ball 20, 25 times with Damian Harris. This is probably a game where Mac Jones is going to throw the ball potentially 40 times. And I think that's just what the defense is going to give them. So they're going to respect the pass rush that the Buccaneers have, but they're going to try to get the passes out quick so that way you counteract what Tampa can bring defensively as far as their front seven goes with their pass rush. So, when I look at the matchup, it's going to be a fun game. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I just don't know if both teams are going to have high scoring outputs. I think the Bucks are going to put up, I'm going to say at least 30 points in this game. And I think the Patriots are going to put up somewhere in like maybe the 20s. But I do have the Bucks winning this one. I think this is a game where they probably win by 10 to 14 points. And if the Patriots can't score, if they have a really difficult time scoring against this Tampa defense, I think there's a very good chance that Tampa can win this game by 3 touchdowns.
Potentially. I mean, my thing is right now, obviously, we didn't get to mention Richard Sherman signed with the Buccaneers yesterday. Or was it this morning?
He signed, yes. He signed on, what's today? Thursday. He signed on Wednesday.
So he had his first practice today. And I mean, we're all kind of just sitting here looking at this like, well, what Richard Sherman are we getting? Are we going to get a old and washed Richard Sherman that could not stay on the field because of health reasons on the 49ers last year? Or are we going to get prime Seattle Richard Sherman in terms of just playing with a good definitive system, him being probably the number one corner on that team, even though he's at the age and stage in his career that he is? We're just going to have to see what happens. I don't necessarily see any big targets for New England really making that big of a difference on the offensive side that Richard would have to necessarily shut down. He'll just kind of have to play his role in the system that Tampa runs. So we will see what happens, but I'm actually glad that you agree with me. I'm kind of surprised. I thought you would say maybe Mac Jones would be able to torch them up.
Mm-mm. With the way that Brady's been playing so far, granted they did lose to the Rams last week, but he still threw for over 400 yards. So, I mean, granted,
Yeah.
they didn't get in the end zone as much as LA did, but I mean, they didn't lose that game because of Brady. They lost that game because the defense gave up damn near 35 points. So, I mean, Matt Stafford had a really good game against that Tampa defense. Do I think that Mac Jones is going to light it up against that defense like Matt Stafford did? No, but I do think that New England's going to run some safe plays with Mac. I think by and large, most of the passes that they're going to have Mac throw are going to probably be within about, 5 to maybe 15 yards. They might dial up, a deep ball here and there. But, I think a lot of the passes that they're going to throw are going to be relatively short and intermediate passes. And, Tampa's going to have to cover that. So I don't necessarily think that they're going to have to worry about the long ball because last week against the Rams, I mean, they got torched by Deshaun Jackson when he got that 75-yard touchdown. So I think
That's hilarious.
I think this is a game where I think the Bucs defense, I think they can kind of play up a little bit because they know Mac Jones is kind of limited. Not like as far as like power to throw the ball downfield. It's just that New England doesn't have a target that could really kind of like spread the field. I mean, meaning like take the top off of a defense. Maybe Nelson Aguilar could do that, but not compared to what the Rams had with Deshaun Jackson and even like Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods last week. So,
No.
yeah, I think this is a game where I think the Bucs kind of get it back together after taking an L to the Rams last week, and I think just the Patriots, it's just a matchup where I think they're just going to be overwhelmed with what the Bucs present them because the Bucs just offensively, they're stout, and I mean I do think that the Patriots defense can hold up to a certain extent. But it's like I said, if that Patriot offense is not scoring, that Patriots defense is going to stay on the field a lot longer, and they're going to get winded. They're going to get gassed, and it's going to leave some vulnerabilities in that defense. And I know Brady's going to definitely take that defense to task if he's able to find some exploits just based on the fact that the Patriots might not score.